In this video, we will be servicing the lubrication system in this 2023 Ford Explorer. Through the driver's side door, we want to locate our hood release latch, and we will need to pull this latch 2 times. And by pulling it 2 times, it will automatically release the secondary safety latch, which will give us access to the engine bay. Taking a look inside the engine bay, we want to focus our intention towards the center of the engine. We are locating both the oil fill location as well as the oil dipstick. Our oil dipstick has a yellow ring, and that is right next to our oil fill location. There is a picture of an oil can, and it does say 5W30. With our engine components identified, we now want to shift our focus underneath the vehicle. And to do this safely, I have the front of the vehicle on rhino ramps. I have wheel chocks in back of the rear tires. I have installed safety stands just in case the rhino ramps fail. And the parking brake is engaged. Now, as we look underneath the vehicle towards the rear of the vehicle, we have a front plastic guard. Behind that guard, we have almost like a fiber or fabric type of a guard. That fabric guard is what we will be removing next. And we will begin by removing our 7mm bolts. In total, there are 5 7mm bolts. Next, we can use a trim removal tool to release the hold down retaining clips. In total, there are 3 of those. We then have 2 additional retaining clips, 1 on each corner. With that guard removed, we now have clear access to the oil drain plug as well as the oil filter. And with a collection container in place, we can remove the drain plug. And you always do want to double check your trajectory to make sure that you are not missing your collection container. We're going to let that drain for a while until all of the oil is out. And with that oil drained out, we can reinstall the drain plug. And we will want to do this by hand so we do not accidentally cross-thread it. And the torque specification for the drain plug bolt is 20 foot-pounds. Next, we want to remove our oil filter. If installed properly, this should come off by hand. Now, we do want to make sure our collection container is located beneath the oil filter. And plan B is to try a filter wrench. And we'll let a little bit of that oil drain out before we remove it the rest of the way. And I do like to clean off that mating surface. This also allows me to double check that the rubber ring came off with the previous oil filter. At this point, I like to again double check that the rubber ring came off with my old oil filter. I also like to double check that my new oil filter looks basically the same size. These look good. And we do want to apply some new oil to that rubber gasket on our new filter. We want to use new oil because it is clean. If we were to do this with old oil, we would effectively just be rubbing a bunch of dirt all over that rubber ring. And that new filter can then be installed. Now we want to do this hand tight. We don't want to over tighten it, or you can actually cause that rubber gasket to fail. And with our oil filter installed and our plug back in, we can shift our focus to the engine bay, and we will be adding 5 quarts of oil. Now this does call for 5.2 quarts. However, we're going to install 5 quarts, run the vehicle, and then take a reading to see if we need to top it off with a little bit more. And with 5 quarts of oil installed, we can remove our funnel and recap our oil fill location. And after adding 5 quarts of oil, I like to double check underneath to make sure there are no leaks. And then I'm going to reinstall that shroud underneath before I back this off of the ramps. I can then remove the wheel chocks, the safety stands, take the parking brake off, and back it off of the ramps. This will allow the engine to run for about 15 to 30 seconds and get the oil flowing, and this will set me up for checking the oil. And with the vehicle sitting on a level surface, after having turned it off, I'm going to let it sit for a couple minutes. I can then withdraw the dipstick, cleaning off the dipstick as I withdraw it. I will then reinstall the dipstick fully and then withdraw that dipstick again to take my reading. As we take a look at the dipstick, we can see that our oil level is at the very top of the hatch pattern. We are not yet up to the full indicator mark, which is perfectly fine because we are falling within that hatch pattern. Because of that, I'm not going to add any additional oil. Now, I always recommend checking your oil once a month, and if you see that level slowly going down, you know that your engine is using oil or leaking or something of that nature. And this service is complete.